it ring, let it ring.
I don't want any distractions.
Well, there's a woman after my own heart.
You break mine every time you leave.
Maybe I have something to help ease the pain. A token of my undying affection.
You're too good to me. Always have been.
That's me, baby. Patron saint of sinners.
There's no answer.
Are you sure you have the right place?
That makes the most sense. It's where he grew up.
In the brothel?
Yeah, sad as it sounds, it's the closest thing my dad had to a home. It might be the only place that he feels he can turn to after I convince the whole family to shut him out.
No, you were trying to save Luke.
How do you save someone who's determined to self-destruct? Now, my dad never went into much detail about his childhood, but I know the basics. My grandfather was an alcoholic. He had a bad temper. He used to take it out on the whole family, and then he abandoned my dad and his sister after their mother died.
Well, I know what it's like to live with a mean drunk. Would have liked to boot my own dad out on his backside, blowing his paycheck every week down at the pub, sort of putting food on the table. Kids, they shouldn't survive on their wits alone.
Yeah, I know. That's what my dad and Bobby had to do for a while, till the money got tight, and the cops were threatening to make them wards of the state. That's why they moved down here to Florida to stay with their Aunt Ruby. She's the one that ran the brothel back in the day.
How much of the business were they exposed to?
Bobby was only a teenager when she started working as a hooker. And my dad would, lift wallets, run scams. He used the house as his base of operations.
Think how different their lives would have been if your grandfather had never taken a drink.
Yeah, I know, it's incredible. It's incredible how one simple choice can have such a lasting impact on people's lives. But it defined who my dad became, for better or worse.
I am so sorry. If Inga had looked at the schedule, she would have seen that Kate is in Sydney on Tuesday morning and can't possibly make a 1:30 lunch in Lower Manhattan. Could you ask Donatella if she could possibly do a breakfast instead? Thank you.
I see not much has changed.
Oh, no, they're worse, thanks to Inga. She's going out of her way to make me look incompetent, double booking appointments, misplacing things.
Wow, why didn't you just tell Kate?
Yeah, because when has Kate ever cared about my drama? Please tell me this is you coming to your senses and you're here to beg for your job back.
This is me coming to get my last paycheck.
I'm trying to be really supportive and a good friend to you during this time, but you quitting your job has messed things up for me, and I'm not just talking about it at work. I don't get to see Matt anymore. Just come back to work for Crimson.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Look, fixing up the Haunted Star isn't going to do anything. Luke is not coming back.
Yeah, he is, actually.
You don't know that?
Yeah, I do, because Lucky's gonna go get him and bring him home.
Well, that is the worst idea I've ever heard. How long do you think it'll be after Luke comes back before Jason goes after your dad for killing his son? I think you underestimate his grief.
First of all, he would never want to put Lucky through any more pain than he's already in, and most importantly, Jake's death was an accident. Carly and Sonny and Robin were all on the road that night. Any of them could have easily hit him, and do you think he would want revenge? No, this is the same situation.
Maybe. But Luke doesn't exactly seem to be wringing his hands over what happened.
What is that supposed to mean?
I'm just saying he doesn't seem all that sorry.
Lucky's son is dead. You think my dad doesn't feel bad about that? Why do you think he's drinking all the time? Why do you think he took off? This whole situation is destroying my family. My dad is never going to forgive himself for this.
Then why would you want him to come back to Port Charles? Could you imagine how hard it would be for your dad to see Lucky and Elizabeth every day, knowing the void that he left in their lives? No, I think for Luke's sake, it's better if he just stays gone.
Oh. Wow.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be just like my dad. And then when I got older, the pedestal I had him on came crashing down, and I wanted to be anyone except him.
Is that why you became a cop?
I don't know. Probably, on some level. I mean, I resented him for a lot of different things, including how he would just take off whenever life became too mundane. And maybe if I would have tried harder to understand what he'd been through and where he came from, it could have saved us a lot of pain.
Well, children, they push away from their parents. It's part of growing up.
I know. And my dad had to grow up faster than most people. And with a role model like Tim Spencer, it would have been so easy for him to just check out on his own kids. But he never did. It was just the opposite. And I never doubted that my father loved me.
Of course he loves you. If he didn't, Jake's death, it wouldn't be taking such a toll on him.
Yeah. I know that he's a good man. I'm just not sure how to get him to believe it.
Oh. What happened to you being Lulu's rock, the person who is supposed to support her when her entire world is falling apart?
What are you talking about? Lulu knows I'm there for her.
Yeah, well, we're women. We like gestures.
Well, she doesn't accept help or advice, especially when it comes to her father.
Lulu has turned her entire life upside down, not to mention mine, with this mistaken belief that she could fix up the haunted star, Luke's gonna come home, and everything's gonna be okay. That has to concern you.
Yeah, of course it does, but what do you want me to do? She was well on her way to realizing that her job is not to solve all Luke's problems, and then Lucky goes and says he's gonna find them.
Well, hello, why didn't you stop him?
Because I'm not gonna tell Lulu or Lucky how to deal with their father.
You're supposed to be the guy that loves her.
I do love her. I love her enough to let her make her own choices.
That's crap.
Okay.
Lulu is circling the drain and you're just standing by watching. You need to do something to pull her out.
Like what, Maxie?
It's time to get creative.
Hi, sorry for stopping by like this.
Oh, can I, get you something? Some coffee or some water?
No, I'm fine.
You don't look fine.
Haven't been sleeping a lot lately. So.
Well, maybe you could, go for a drive. Getting on the road always helps me clear my head.
Thinking about him a lot.
Yeah, all the time.
I'm sorry you didn't get to know him better.
Is there, something you need?
Have you heard from Lucky?
No, why? What happened?
He's gone to find my dad.
Maybe your dad doesn't want to be found.
He took off from rehab because we forced him there, and it was a mistake. So when Lucky brings him back, I think it would be best if you just stayed away from him.
I don't want anything to do with him.
He didn't deliberately set out to hit Jake. Could have been anybody.
Luke was drinking.
Whether the drinking affected his driving that night, he still wouldn't have seen Jake in the road because it was...
Listen, I understand if you have to make excuses for your father, but it doesn't change what happened. He killed Jake.
And you want to kill him as payback. That's what this is about. Just say it. Damn it. Say that you want my dad dead.
Lulu tried telling me that an intervention was a bad idea. I should have listened. I knew how my dad would react being backed into a corner. I just handled it all wrong.
Well, you had just lost your son. You had your own grief to deal with. If anything, Luke should have been trying to help you.
He can't, and he knew it. No one can. Not that I don't appreciate all that you've done.
Oh, it's not about me.
It's just the thing is right now, Dad is carrying so much guilt over what happened to Jake, and all I did was add fuel to the fire by cramming the 12 steps down his throat. So if I start to do that, will you please just kick me or something?
I don't think Luke's going to be real receptive if he feels like he's being ganged up on.
Right.
So I think the best thing would be for you to go speak to him alone.
But you've come all this way.
support you. I'll be here when you get back.
Okay.
Do you have any idea what you're going to say to your dad when you find him?
All I can do is love him, flaws and all. That's what I plan to do.
Guard this with your life.
What's this?
My ultimate sacrifice to Lulu's sanity. Look, I had to throw Kate's name around and pretty much sell my soul, so you better appreciate it.
Wait a minute, you booked us a trip?
It's not just any trip, it's 2 first-class tickets to France, a 3-night stay in a wonderful hotel, followed by a weekend at a friend's farmhouse with a private vineyard, all the wine you can drink.
Wow, Maxie, I can't believe you did this for us.
I didn't do it for you guys. I did it for Matt as a surprise, and it took a lot to keep it from him. Look, if Kate found out that I used the company's resources to book this trip, I would probably get fired. But Lulu's sanity is more important.
Huh. You know, you're a good friend.
There's a catch.
Oh, let me guess. You want me to convince Lulu to come back and work here?
Which will probably be a lot easier when you're in France and she's completely loaded up on wine. So I suggest you take her to the airport before Lulu can cause any more damage. Have fun, you two. Kate Howard's office.
You gave up Jake so he'd be safe and have a better life and a future outside of the mob. And my dad took that away from you, along with any chance you could have of knowing your son. You should be upset. But killing my dad is not going to make things better for you.
Luke keeps coming at me. He'll get in my face, telling me I have no right to grieve for Jake because I wasn't his father.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That's his grief talking. He feels like he doesn't deserve to be in pain when he's caused so much for everyone else, but the truth is he is. That's why he took off. I'm not expecting you to forgive him. I'm just asking you not to go after him. My entire family has been hurting enough, especially my dad and Lucky.
I'm not gonna hurt Luke.
Thank you.
Don't. Because I'm not doing it for you or for Lucky. I want Luke to suffer. I want him to wake up every morning and think about what he did and relive it every day. Just like I do.